Are you having this problem? If you want to build epic waterfalls like this in Jurassic World Evolution 3, but the new waterfall tool is just not working, this video is for you. I've been getting a lot of comments about waterfalls not generating, and I think I know what's going wrong. I'm gonna show you how to make waterfalls easy and pain-free, and I'm gonna take you through the other terrain tools. I think what's tripping people up is the slope. So when you first load into a map and you go into your terrain tools, the slope is automatically set to this intensity. So it's 2 bars down from the maximum. And it does work. So let me give you a demonstration. Here, see, we have some waterfalls forming, but as you can see, it is finicky. But if I turn the slope to maximum, you can see that it generates perfectly. Like, you get this beautiful continuous waterfall down the incline. So I think a simple adjustment to the slope of the water is gonna save you the headache when it comes to making waterfalls. Because again, you can see how much I'm struggling now after I've changed the slope. And if I change the slope even more, the problem only becomes worse. Like, now I can't place waterfalls at all. For waterfalls on tall cliffs, just always set the slope to max. But something else I found is that there is a maximum to how high you can make your waterfalls. That's also an issue you might be running into. So let's test it out. By the way, I've been using, let's use deep water because it doesn't matter, it works with both. So this height works perfectly fine. This one also works. Still good, look at that, that's a beefy waterfall. It still works at this height. It still works, but you can see that we're starting to run into issues. So now when we reach this one, it doesn't work anymore. You can actually see that at the top and the bottom, it's really starting to fight me there. So as you can see, there is a max to how tall you can make your waterfalls. But what about short waterfalls? This is a really minimal distance, but it's still gonna generate that flowing water effect. And then what you wanna do is change the slope a bit and see how far you can take it, how gentle you can make the slope before it stops working. So you can see I'm just working my way down the slope options here, and we're creating like a really nice river rapids effect. And there you go. Now the feature no longer works. So yeah, if you're running into issues with your waterfalls, just change the slope. You're using too gentle of a slope to try and create what you want to make. Now, the question about the waterfalls is the main problem that I've been seeing, but more people are also asking about how the terrain tools work. They're struggling with the terrain tools. So we have several functions, and I'm just going to show all of them. So we have raise, we have lower, then we have flatten to whatever point your cursor is on. We can raise terrain to flat, so that's what happens. Or we can lower terrain to flat, and then that's what happens. Hold on, let me give a clear demonstration here. So now it's just flatten to terrain, so I'm gonna place it in between these two. And if I flatten, it's gonna go down on one side, up on the other. If I use raise to flatten and I put it here, you can see that the terrain only comes up on one side, it doesn't come down on the other. And then finally with lower to flatten, the terrain comes down on one side, but it doesn't come up. Next up we have roughen, which is just gonna roughen up the terrain. And this makes really easy work of just making something look more natural. Because, you know, a perfectly flat earth doesn't look quite right. So if you just dot that around a bit, that already looks a lot more natural. And then of course on the flip side you have smooth, so you can get rid of the real bumpy bits. Next we have smooth bottom, and when you do that, what you can see is that it smooths out the bottom of the cliff, but the top edge stays quite sharp. Logically, the flip side of that is that the top gets smoothed and the bottom stays quite sharp. And then finally you have the ramp tools. The fixed ramp is always gonna go up, and that's what you get. So fixed ramp, you just click it and then you drag it to wherever you want it to go, and the further you drag it, the taller it goes, and it remains at the same angle. So you can see if we make a teeny tiny baby ramp, or we can make a big ramp, the angle stayed the same there. We can also do a dynamic ramp, which is just gonna connect 2 points. So I click it here, and then I bring it up to this like raised plateau, and then it's just gonna connect the two, and I can connect it from the top as well. And obviously these things are gonna be a little different on console. You know, the controls are gonna be different. You're just gonna have to figure out what the controller buttons are. And obviously now that I've created this mess and I wanna clean it up, well, that takes a while, doesn't it? So, you know, you can mess with the radius to make quicker work of it. You can mess with the intensity so it works faster. Let me actually show you. So intensity at the max and intensity at the lowest. You can see it responds really slowly, but it is gonna achieve the same effect. And slope, we already talked about this with the waterfall tool, but that just determines how steep your cliff is going to end up being. So this is the steepest it can be, and it's almost straight. And if you tone it down, you get a quite different slope. Fall off is one of those things that's difficult to describe, so I'm just going to show you. So if fall off is at the maximum, that's the shape that you get. And if fall off is at the minimum, that's the shape that you get. So I guess the point is sharper. It's difficult for me to describe it. Oh, the last thing I saw, if your cliff is generating rocks at some point and not on the other, that's dependent on what is painted on the ground texture. So here, if I paint the terrain with bushes generate because the terrain is flat, but then I start to raise it, inclines generate rocks automatically when you've used that terrain brush. So if you want to make them appear, that's how you do it. If you want to make them disappear, it's really as simple as that. That's the first option. And the other option would be to paint it just any sort of texture that doesn't include those rocks. So yeah, I saw a lot of questions about the waterfalls and I wanted to help out. If this video did help out, please give it a like so the algorithm will actually spread it to more park builders who might be struggling with waterfalls. For more tips and tricks and creative park builds, subscribe to the channel, and there's already a lot of Jurassic World Evolution 3 content on the channel, so check that out. I will link some of them right here. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the waterfalls.